in over 150 countries and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Feel it. Get your pirate on. That's right, everybody. It is time for another Black Sails after show. Tonight we're talking season 3, episode 2, XX. And before we dive into all the exciting pirate drama that we have,
Double X.
Double X. Get real. Watch out, guys. Before we dive into everything, make sure you guys are subscribed to us on YouTube, youtube.com/AfterBuzzTV, and you can also catch all of our after shows on iTunes and SoundCloud as well. And be sure when you're in there in iTunes to leave us a 5-star review. And if you guys leave us a review and write a nice little message to us, we will read it here on air for you and do our best dramatic interpretation of it. So go do that.
Only if it's nice, though.
Only if it's nice. Yeah, we only read the good ones.
Yeah,
so
we're not Jimmy
Don't
Kimmel
be
here.
jerks. Huh?
We don't read mean tweets.
Yeah, no, we're not doing that.
I'm Lauren Salaun, and you can find me on Twitter at Lauren Salaun. I'm sure it's right there. And I'm joined by my lovely panel of ladies to my left. Guys, how's it going? Tell everyone who you are and where they can find you.
So excited for tonight's episode.
I told you it was good.
It was amazing.
Told you it was
Incredible.
good.
Okay, so quickly, you can find me all over social media at Nadine DP with the number 3.
I'm Keetin Marchi, back and happy to be here. You guys can find me all over social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, everything, at Keetin Marchi. I keep it simple. It's probably below here as well, I think, maybe.
There we go. Yes.
I don't know if
Somewhere
I got
here.
that
Thank you. Thank you in the booth.
Thank you. Yes.
All right, so let's open it up with Flint and Co. So we get a real creepy flashback, or like not a flashback, sorry, like a dream sequence vision nightmare for Flint opening up this episode. It was so
It started, they bookended this episode.
chilling. Yes.
Did you notice that?
Yes.
Like with the dream sequence at the beginning and dream sequence at the end. I love when they do that. I love it.
And I mean, the production of that, like the sound design and cinematography of that opening and closing scene was just incredible. It's so quiet, but so amazing. You can't stop watching. And then Miranda's there saying something that we can't exactly figure out what she's saying.
Yeah, you guys in the chat, if you, Lauren and I were trying to read her lips, and we really couldn't figure out what she was saying. So if you guys have any idea of what you think she was saying, let us know what you think.
Yeah, I think at some point she was saying like, help me, come with me, something like that. And then there's death in these two.
I love the portrayal of death. I think it's so, like, it's just beautiful. It's haunting. It's scary, but it kind of, I want, like, it's intriguing. And, you know, I wonder if death is like calling to Flint. That's what it seems like this is supposed to represent. But did you guys also realize that death looked like the same death that was in the mock play of Eleanor's trial? It looked very similar.
Yeah, 2 and 2 together there.
I didn't notice it until the second time I watched the episode.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, oh, okay.
I get this.
Yeah, I don't know if I don't know, but I think I don't think they'll kill Flint off, but I'll say again, I think Eleanor might be done at the end of the season.
Get out. Yeah,
I think she's gonna get.
You think she's gonna go? She's gonna, hopefully
maybe
she
it was
doesn't show
just
up
a
in the
big
dream.
metaphor, the death of James McGraw.
Yeah, something.
don't
But
know.
I think this whole dream sequence, it just shows where his mental state is at. Like we were talking about that a little last episode, that he's not even capable of like true love right now or anything because he's having these dreams. This is why you see his face is just completely pale too. He's walking around this dream sequence just in a fog, in a daze because of her.
And so dead set on doing what he's gonna do and making everyone come along with it, which we saw in the big let's go into the eye of this storm, like death be, throw caution to the wind, seriously.
Who cares about life?
Can I ask you guys about the storm? So, like, obviously, because we're on his crew right now, there were a lot of men lost during the storm, and obviously Flint did what he thought was his only option, basically, to get through, get away from Hornigold and his crew. Do you think it was worth it? Because now we also know where they are at. Should they have taken the pardons like John Silver said?
See, I don't know. I don't think that was the only option, obviously. Like, because what Silver and Billy talk about, where they're like, we're pirates, we could just take those pirates and then like keep fighting them,
Exactly,
you know?
yeah.
So no, I think it was all because Flint is like so stubborn, and that I think is completely going to bite him in the butt about this, you know. But I don't know. I think we're in for some like cool stuff going on. Maybe not cool in a good way, but intense stuff going on with them being stranded.
Oh yeah,
you know,
with
in the middle of
drama.
nowhere.
Yeah, and I think the great part that I loved about this episode as well is you really see like the water scenes. The water scenes are so heightened too, with them being pirates and being cruising all over the world all the time. You never really see what Mother Nature really has done to them or affected them. You more see like human to human context. Now you're really seeing Mother Nature to human context.
pirate versus Mother
What's
Nature.
that?
Right,
Yeah.
and we haven't
You
really
know?
had pirate versus Mother Nature
you haven't really
before,
seen that.
I don't think.
And again, shout out to the visual effects crew, because that storm, I remember when they were working on it in post, my roommate would come home every day and be like, oh my gosh, the storm. Oh my gosh, the storm, and how cool the storm looked, and everybody in the office, and like the layers of the storm and how they built it up through visual effects before it got to its final thing. And I think the final product is
incredible.
amazing, and it's hard to believe that's all fake.
Right,
Yeah,
it's
right.
incredible, so well done. And I love how, you know, Flint in this whole sequence with the storm is such like a dick for doing that to his guys pretty much, but then also such a badass at the same time too, like staying up top, like holding on to the wheel, like not even like flinching through the storm, like a good captain would do.
Well, no, but this is what I'm kind of. You said like a good captain would do, and yes, I think Flint to a certain extent is a good captain, but he kind of gives no shits right now about his life.
Good.
And
Yeah,
because he does that, he puts his crew at so much risk. And does that? I don't think that makes you a good captain.
I don't
Poor
like it at
choice of
all.
words on my part. Like a
You messed up there.
like a tragic pirate.
Tragic pirate.
Is a better way to
Lost
say
soul.
it. Yeah.
Doesn't care about death.
Yeah, well, and you mentioned like he's so stubborn. Like I think that's kind of his fatal flaw. I think like he is so stubborn. And I mean, Eleanor said it earlier. Like he can be reasoned with, but it takes a while, and it takes. I almost think it takes a woman to reason with
someone that
Flint.
knows him, that knows how to get to his heart.
I've
in
never
sense.
seen a man really reason with him.
That's a great.
If you think about it.
Back.
correlation. Yeah.
I don't know. I think he listened last season. We saw him listening a little bit to Silver because Silver was like, "I've got the crew. Like, let me," you know. And he saw, and not necessarily through reason. I think he saw through action and through the men listening to Silver is what he saw and why he kind of started to believe what Silver was saying. But I agree when it just comes to reasoning. Yeah, Eleanor, Miranda.
Well, because I think male to male or pirate to pirate, he just figures anyone that disagrees with him, he's just gonna cut and kill, you know, and use sword fighting to deal with it. And with women, he's not gonna really do that so much.
But he
So
can't
those
kill
two girls.
Silver because, he tried to kill Billy. That didn't really work out for him.
So
But yeah, he can't kill Silver. So because Silver is his connection to the men.
he needs Silver.
Yeah. Which is so crazy.
It's going to be so interesting, I think, to see now what happens because, you know, at the end, we see that they are in the middle of nowhere, potentially like in the Bermuda Triangle, maybe. I don't know. But they have barely any water, barely any food. They've lost a ton of guys. And we already know that Billy Bones and Silver think that this was a mistake to move forward with going into the storm. So it'll be interesting to see where allegiances fall and how the kind of power plays out.
Yeah, they said they only have a week left worth of food and supplies, and it's going to take at least 3 weeks to get to
they're like,
the
"Where are
shore. So it's like, so what's going to happen? Is someone going to come rescue them? Or I don't know. I think another big storm may come. We'll see.
Yeah.
I don't
doing
know.
early predictions, guys.
I
know.
think, I feel like they went all in on this storm, guys. I don't know if we're
They're
gonna
not
get
gonna do
another
more-
one. Like
yeah, I don't
you
know
don't
if that's-
understand how long and expensive those visual effects
No.
are.
Actually do
I
more
think they kind of really run down the budget on that one. I think we might get 2 big battle scenes the rest of the season, but I don't think
That's
the
it.
storm's
We're
gonna be
done.
difficult, budget wise.
No more water.
No more water.
No more water at all. Pirates are just going to be on the land the whole
Speaking
time.
of too much water, transition to the sad point
Aw.
with Silver
Oh, goodness.
and Muldoon. That's I know Keetin.
I literally
sad.
the second time we watched it, I
Boy.
fast forwarded through it because it just
it
makes
was
me so sad.
sad and so well done just from an acting standpoint because again, we see, you know, we talked about this last time, how Silver's transition to, you know, he used to be all out for himself, and he still is, but he actually does care about his crew now, you know, and we see that with him really just desperately trying to help Muldoon, who's stuck under there and drowning, and he was so defeated at the end of it.
It was just so sad, and you just see he's just standing there staring.
Well, because
Standing there staring at him with the helpless. I think it's the biggest word is he's just helpless. Literally couldn't do anything.
Well, and I think it was a huge reality check for him too, of like he's not a whole. He's not doesn't feel whole, and he can't do all the same things he used to do. And I think this was kind of a very rude awakening for him because he wasn't able to save a friend of his because he didn't have the strength because he only had one leg. So I think it's going to wake him up a little bit. It's going to harden him a lot. And he's going to carry this with him. And I think this is going to be a huge kind of thing. That's gonna, you know, I think he's just gonna carry this, and it's gonna make him really down. And I don't know. It's so sad. I love
and like
Silver.
you were saying last week, how he's transitioning out of that kind of comic relief role into this very serious kind of, you know, tortured and like guy with some, you know, some wounds now, like emotional wounds for sure, and obviously physical ones too, but more the emotional ones. And I completely agree that we're seeing that transition, and I don't know if we'll see the like quirky, silly side of him much more, or that won't be for a while.
It makes me want to go back and read Treasure Island and see what he's going towards, like the type of character he's going towards. I haven't read Treasure Island in forever. I used to watch Muppet Treasure Island all the time. It was like my favorite movie growing up.
Different.
But yes, I'm sure they take a lot of liberties. But I'm very curious to see, you know, because he is a character in that, and this is supposed to be a prequel, where they're bringing him, and because every time like a new real character comes in, I go and like look up the history. Today I was looking up the Woodes Rogers history, so I can't wait till we start talking about him.
Because you have it all.
I know, like, in your head. You know, because I feel like, especially with some deaths and stuff, they're not going to mess around too much with that. So.
Right. Oh, interestingly about history, real quick, throw this in there, that apparently Hornigold was, who obviously we know was the one offering them all the pardons and that they turned down. Hornigold apparently was a pirate who always had the idea of taking pardons and then hey, sure, we'll take those pardons, and then continuing to whoop whoever just gave them the pardons. So
his whole idea.
Kind of ironic little
that is very
twist
ironic
there
that they did that.
Well, another thing about talking about Hornigold, you know, we also found out this episode that it was Hornigold who teamed up with Eleanor to get Blackbeard out.
Right.
That was great backstory.
Yes. And back to Hornigold a little bit. I never really thought he was that impressive of a pirate.
He's kind of like a Rackham.
Seasons. Yeah.
He's just there.
Well, no, he's devious.
Yeah. Right. And so these first two episodes of season 3, I feel like he's got more kind of bravado, or there's more of a reputation there than I ever thought he carried with him, which is, I don't know if I just wasn't paying enough attention or something, but I'm like, oh, I guess he's like tougher than I thought he was.
Well, I agree with that. I think
accomplished more than I thought.
Yeah, well, he's also a little bit older too, so you're not seeing him out in
in his prime.
Yeah, in his prime, fighting with all his muscles. He's not vain. Okay, guys, he's not vain.
And this is the other thing: as pirates get older, they have to find new tactics when they start losing their strength.
Yeah, right.
You know, and so he has to start using his mind and his knowledge of all of his years at sea, and put stronger men, align either with stronger men, or put stronger men in front of him, or get people who are stronger with them out, because he doesn't have that physical strength anymore. He just has a reputation he needs to uphold.
So Rackham is all set then for another 60 years. Rackham has it all down.
We'll see.
I don't know. I'm getting nervous about Rackham. But
and before we move on from Flint and his crew and Silver and stuff, I think just Luke Arnold's performance, obviously, in this episode was incredible. He just...
insane.
Oh, it's just heartbreaking. It was so well done. And just everything, like the final look on his face, just looking so defeated that he couldn't save that, you know, his friend. Oh, it's just... you know, did more in that than like him having a whole speech or monologue about it.
Oh, of course. And I just think too, in that whole scene, that whole death scene there, the fact that they prefaced it with Muldoon saying that we'll always have your back, like we'll help you, we'll be here for you no matter what type deal, and then Silver just couldn't be there for him, couldn't help him. I think that's really going to scar him more than anything, and that's going to be the type of baggage that's really going to, you know, kill him and shape him.
Yeah.
I know. I'm so sorry.
I'm so sorry.
You know, I love Silver because I love he's fun, he's loving,
Not
you know.
anymore.
I want to be on his
Not
crew,
anymore.
but no,
Not
not if
anymore.
Flint is the one.
Yeah.
I don't know. Flint's getting
But
sketchy.
I think also this his emotional hardening, like being more hard and not really having a soul anymore, not being that fun guy, is what's gonna make him go against Flint. Maybe
I
See
don't
more
think
tension.
I don't think he's gonna lose his soul. I just think
That may have been the wrong
because this is the thing about Silver. Silver, he genuinely, I think, he a lot of times cares more about his crew than Flint does. Flint, I think, is always thinking about himself, number one. And this is a huge change of what Silver used to be like, where Silver was all about him. He didn't care, if the person next to him got through. But you started to see this change in him when it came to Randall. Do you guys remember Randall? He started building that relationship with Randall, and that's when you started seeing, oh wait, John Silver, he's not just out for himself. He does kind of. He's kind and he has empathy for people, and I don't think Flint has empathy for anybody.
No, I agree. And some people in the chat, so Mary and then Allie saying that, so Mary's saying it's the beginning of Silver's darker side, which I definitely agree. We're seeing that transition. And then Allie saying that this is what's going to start to turn Silver against Flint also.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get at with that. It's going to give him that strength or that courage sort of to be able to go against him.
Spark.
Yeah, that hardness sort of.
All right, let's talk about Eleanor and Woods Rogers.
Uh-oh.
That name is such a mouthful.
Woods.
All right, so
I love that name, Woods.
Right?
I think it's great, Woods.
It's very, very like fancy.
Yeah, right?
So Eleanor, it opens up with that scene with Eleanor and she's getting dressed and stuff. And this scene, kind of the initial conversation between Rogers and Eleanor, I felt like he was almost trying to impress her. Like, I've done all these things and I'm, you should be teaming up with me and helping me out because I, I've accomplished all this stuff.
Bow down to me, not the pirates.
Right,
deal.
exactly. Yeah. And it's very much, I think, throughout the whole episode, the two of them leveling each other up, because they're not on each other's side because they want to be. This is the best option for Eleanor.
Yeah.
And he
Needs her
to accomplish what he wants to accomplish. So they're just like, all right, you're gonna, and he even says this, you're gonna basically be around as long as you're helpful. And then when you're not, I'm sending you on that ship and peace out, chick,
Well, it's such a fun kind of power struggle between them. And Woods Rogers, I mean, if you look at him in history, he's a person who accomplished a lot. He also had a lot of hardships when it came to financial things, but I think this is pre all of his hardships.
Okay.
So he was kind of a celebrity in England a little bit.
And we
so,
see that at the end, his other, I don't remember his name, but he was like, oh, I read your memoir.
Yeah. So
he's
he's a celebrity, so he is not used to not only like anybody talking back to him, let alone a woman talking back to him.
Asking a woman for her help.
Yeah,
Right.
and he's asking her for help. Like, I feel like he's trying, he wants to impress her, and she like doesn't give a crap because she obviously grew up with pirates. And then I think he's a little like impressed with her. I think initially when she's like 17 and he's like going through and he's like, oh my, like you can see it on his face, and he's like, holy crap, and she kind of like she kind of like says, you can't kill me, you can't send me back on that ship because you need me. You don't know this and you don't know that and you don't know this and you don't know that, and I just told you all that, but you can't remember any of that. So you better not piss me off because I have one up on you.
Right. And I know we said last week how I said that I really don't like Eleanor. But I really liked her in this episode, and I hope that it's going to continue in a way that's not, because the things I don't like about Eleanor are that she tends to be very impulsive and like, impulsive and just acts way too rashly, and it doesn't always seem thought out. And I feel like with this, she's being a little bit more calculating, and I hope it continues in that vein, and she is more thoughtful with her actions and what she's doing. Obviously, she's got her back against the wall. Like, this is, she's doing this to survive completely, but I think it's setting up for some really interesting kind of, strategic, like, power moves on Eleanor's part.
Yeah, it makes me wonder, though, if she's doing it sort of as what the pirates are saying, like, let's take the pardons and then just forget about it later.
Yeah.
Or if she's saying right now, yeah, I'm going to help you, I'm going to tell you all this stuff, and then as soon as she gets there, what is she going to do? But I think also she thinks the land is going to be different than what she's coming back to. Nassau has changed since she's left as well. Blackbeard's there. I mean, there's a lot of...
Well, she doesn't know this yet.
That's what I'm saying.
And she
When
kicked
she
him out,
goes there, she may go in thinking that she can just take over again, sort of. And
very interesting.
now when she comes back,
I loved learning about that backstory. You know, we're seeing more about Vane's situation and how that all happened and that relationship between Vane and Blackbeard, and that Eleanor was responsible for kicking Blackbeard out, which
I
again,
respect her so much more.
That I was like, Eleanor, maybe I underestimated you after all.
Get it, girl.
Because this whole time we thought she just basically, her father gave her this whole enterprise. That's what we've been led to believe, that she didn't really do much for it. And now we found out that, she made her own way up to there. I mean, she didn't do any fighting, but she was a little sneaky and made it all happen. So she's she's
a smart girl, and she's grown up in a man's world.
Exactly.
And she's very good at navigating in a man's world, even though, but it's when she fails is when she's a little too impulsive, and but again, she learns from her mistakes, which a lot of these men in the show don't learn from their mistakes. But I'm going to be interested to see if they start, because there's chemistry between these two. And it's kind of like this. I think there's a little chemistry, and I think Woodes Rogers is going to try to start charming her so he can get more control, because now he realized, you use your sexuality to control men. Maybe he's going to try to flip it on her.
Play her own game at her.
It makes sense, and he seems like he's trying to, he's not obviously being super nice to her, but he's probably like, I can get this woman to sleep with me if she slept with a pirate type of thing. I'm also wondering how he got the scar on his face.
Yes.
That kept, how did he get the scar?
Because that's very interesting, because I think in last week's premiere episode, he looked so clean cut and like fancy pants mister, and seeing those scars throughout the episode this week was very interesting. From a makeup standpoint, I think they did a really good job with all of that, but we know there's so much more story there.
It's a history.
Yeah,
there's some
There's
history.
a lot going on there, and even with the guy at the end who's talking to him, and he's like, the scars are left out of the story of his memoir and all the, the reputation that Woodes has, and so that will be very interesting to hear how he got those scars and if it was doing something heroic or shady.
Well, what's really cool is that the whole kind of fight with Vane did actually happen in real life.
Really?
So if you are very curious or like want to maybe get some type of spoilers, look up Woodes Rogers' story, and there's a lot of stuff about his relationship and his kind of fight against Vane.
I would love to see that.
I don't want to spoil anything, but I just read it today, and it was just very interesting, and it also made me feel better about some things.
Interesting. That could have been a spoiler in itself.
Hey, you don't know.
Were you guys surprised to find out about the Eleanor Blackbeard situation and the Blackbeard Vane protege, that whole thing?
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely thought Blackbeard was coming on to possibly kill Vane, at the end of last episode. I didn't think he was coming there to be buddy-buddy.
To hug him. I thought he was about to stab him through.
Well, we all thought that,
Vane even, I think, wasn't sure what was going to happen.
He grabbed that knife or that sword so fast, so quick. He did not know.
I would like to thank the creators and writers of Black Sails for giving us a shirtless Vane this episode. We always appreciate a shirtless pirate in every episode, especially a shirtless Vane. So thank you.
She's all tense. He's squeezing.
This has been a public service announcement from the AFTERBUZZ TV host of Black Sails After Show.
Oh yeah.
Thank you.
There we go. All right. Any more about Eleanor and Rogers and them? At the end. Well, actually.
The end. Yeah.
Let me answer my own question. At the end there, Hornigold and Dufresne come aboard, and we find out that, Woodes Rogers was the one who orchestrated the whole pardon situation, which is what Silver and Billy Bones were talking about last week. Like, someone bigger is behind this. How would he have that pull?
Yeah. And speaking of real life history, Hornigold was also involved in, like, that really, not exactly obviously as it happened on the show, but Hornigold, the real Hornigold knew the real Woodes Rogers, and they did work together and against each other.
So I love this show so much. It's because it is real as much as it's fantasy. This stuff happened.
There's real stuff.
This stuff happened.
Great.
Great, but and then at the end though with the flag, then he says that Flint's dead.
Flint is dead.
So that's a big thing to say though. That one of the scariest or most scary captains of Nassau is dead.
Well, and this is twice in one episode that somebody's been like, no, I assure you, they're dead.
Yeah,
with Hornigold to to Woods Rogers about Flint, and then later we'll talk about it with Vane telling Blackbeard, Eleanor, oh no, she's dead. She's for sure dead. Yeah, sort of thing. So,
well, and what's going to be very interesting is to see Eleanor's reaction to hearing that Flint is dead. Yeah. Because we didn't see her reaction. I'm sure she's going to find out on the ship. Him. Yeah, he's somebody who, you know, they've done each other wrong, but they've always gotten through it. You know. But they've worked. Yeah, they've worked well together, and she knows that he's somebody she can have on her side, for the most part. Yeah.
Well, that's good. What's going to make it interesting is whether or not now she knows that Flint's dead, whether or not she's going to have to actually stick with Woods or not. You know, because
this is a good point. Like
now, her ally, her one big ally in Nassau, he's dead. So what is she supposed to do now?
I do wonder if Eleanor is playing some type of chess game is playing, you know, like playing Woods Rogers until she gets to Nassau, and then is going to kind of rally her pirate troops to beat him and like figure out as much about him, because like what I want her to do, I want her to figure out a ton about him, figure out what his weaknesses are, and so like if she does go to rally the pirate troops, she can use all of that information against him, even though she's sharing information with him.
And I hope she does have some intricate schemey plan going on, because for my own sake, it'll make me like her character a lot more.
I hope so.
But
I love her.
It'll just add so much good drama to it, I think, too.
Well, and I think, you know, in the end, I think it might lead to her death. I think, you know, she's going to side with the pirates, and, like, I think it's going to... She's going to side with the pirates. It's going to end up killing her in the end, but I think she might die in Vane's arms. I don't know, I'm just throwing that out there.
Not to get into predictions, but that would be a very good parallel to having already seen her getting... you know, potentially going to be executed and everyone being very excited about it, and then having a parallel later where she's actually going to die and everyone's really upset about it.
Yeah. Yep.
Be very good.
I think this would be good. Writers of Black Sails, if you ever want us to come into the writer's room with you, we are here for you.
Story by Lauren Salaun. Okay, so should we talk about Max, Anne, and Jack? That little crew.
We should.
Okay, so
that love triangle.
That love triangle and that poor business management. I don't know.
Very poor business management.
Mr. Featherstrom is about to give more money to this pirate who lost
500. 500 pieces.
A whole sack.
Just lost it. And Jack is pretty much so dumbfounded by this. He can't even believe it. And then he ends up giving the guy more money, which Jack finds out later from Adele, I believe that's her name, from Adele, who's like, oh yeah, your boy just paid with this from his new sack of money. And so Jack has no control over what's happening right now, which is so clear.
Yeah, and I think they're also paying them and not really giving up a fight because they want them on their side. If anything happens, they want these guys on their side, and so they're like, okay, we'll give you. We have
paying
so
them
much
for
money.
Nothing.
We have so much money because I think they're all just so scared that something is going to happen. You know. So.
And Max has a pretty good idea that later Rackham kind of goes along with about trading the money. You know, getting the money out of the fort, because right now with it in there, they're screwed if someone goes there. Yeah. Exactly. And so either parsing it up and trading it for some sort of commodities that they can trade easily and carry with them easily, so they're not like lugging around all these sacks of gold.
Yeah.
And so at the end, I think, you know, Jack is in a spot where he's like, okay, I am in a weak position here. I see it. Yeah, you guys don't need to point it out to me anymore. Okay, we'll do this. Let's hide the gold.
Yeah.
Well, the main reason Max does get him in the end and get him to realize is like, dude, forget about your future and forget about my future. I'm not trying to take away your future. My concern, and the only thing me and you have in common, is that we both love Anne. So if there's anybody's future you should be concerned with and want to protect, it would be Anne's future.
Right.
So, and this is why I think Anne's gonna die at the end of this season.
Oh wow, that I could
look at all
possibly
this.
seeing that
Killing
happening.
off all the ladies.
See, I actually liked Max this episode. I know I was very harsh on her in the past.
Yeah, you were. Why'd you hate Max?
I still love her, but I liked her more this episode.
For some reason, I don't like when Max gets all emotional.
See, I
over
love
Anne
that.
For some reason,
Maybe
I don't know
You know, this is why I don't quite believe it.
Yeah,
I believe
I think
her
that
and
might be it.
Eleanor's kind of love for each other, but I think it's a very different type of love. I don't want to say sisterly because they've done things, but like, I don't know. I just think it's they really, really care like friendship wise, and they've hooked up a couple times. I don't know, but I feel like
and they're on similar levels.
Yeah.
I feel like with the power stuff, and not that Anne isn't awesome, because she is when she needs to fight, she's gonna kill some pirates.
I hope we get a good scene of Anne Bonny kicking some butt this season.
I think that if it was fake, that Max would have already ended it by now.
No, I'm not saying it's fake. What I'm saying is it's a completely. It's not the type of love that like Rackham. Like it's actually it's the same type of love Rackham. Like Rackham loves Anne. It's like a friendship. Like like they've hooked up, but they care about each other as friends so much, and like that's what keeps them connected.
And also that Anne's like this little like broken thing that they have to take care of.
It's like a little toy.
I don't know if she's broken.
But that's like almost how they view it. Like she needs us to look after her.
I think she's a little
like
broken
even with Max saying, "Oh, well, this is about Anne's future," you know.
Yeah. Well, I think Max's relationship with Eleanor was more of a romantic relationship versus like this just like tight friendship that just like.
Well, I think because I don't think that it started off as genuine on Max's end. I think Anne was just confused, but I think now it's become more genuine, in my opinion. I think it's started to grow more. But also, Eleanor and Max had a long time together. There was a long hit, like who knows how long they were actually seeing each other for, So that love was deeper.
That love
was deeper.
But now it seems like they're putting plans in motion to actually start doing what's right with this gold so that they can protect Nassau and protect Anne.
Put a few in your pocket. Remember all the little nooks and crannies that you're hiding that gold in, pretty much.
Well, because
that's a card they can just
the British are literally coming, so we need to figure this out.
They have to prepare.
Oh man. Okay, so let's talk about Blackbeard and Vane because this dynamic is like one of my favorite, or just the Blackbeard situation. I think Blackbeard is my new favorite.
Or just shirtless Vane is also
and shirtless
a great thing.
Vanebeard was a highlight for us this week. So we kind of open on Vane chopping rocks, like breaking up stones and stuff with all the slaves, which is a powerful image because we already knew he was against the whole slave acquisition situation
and
because he was
sweaty
a slave.
and shirtless.
Right.
I'm sorry.
Once
again, he's shirtless, everyone. He's shirtless.
So it just puts it right back there that he's like, this is wrong for us to have slaves. Like I should be helping out. But then it's also very interesting parallel that Mr. Scott comes in to the situation. He's like, okay, maybe you shouldn't be doing this because I think it's a little confusing to the slaves,
And that was a powerful moment there. The fact that or a slave, technically, I mean, he's not really
formerly,
he's the one telling him what to do,
Well, and it's also an interesting, because, he was a former slave.
Yeah.
They're both former slaves.
Right.
But it's like one is in a much higher position of power, and again, it's like, I think, because Mr. Scott understands the mentality of the slaves that they have there
so much more
than Vane does. So even though they've both been slaves, I think that was a very cool interaction. I think, and it also kind of a new way also to look at kind of slavery too. Of hey, this can get confusing. Like if this is what you're trying to put out there and trying to have these men work, and
we need clearer roles.
We're supposed to be afraid of you and do your work. You can't help us with
or
the
even
work,
not afraid, but
afraid.
Respect him. Being like a respected leader that they want to follow, and then now they're like, okay, what's this?
But I think he can still be a respected leader that they want to follow. I just think it's like, I don't know. I think if they see Vane working, why aren't the other guys working? That's what I think is the confusing part.
Yeah. Well, and with that causing confusion, then the other guys the slaves aren't actually working because they're like, what's happening right now? And so it, like Mr. Scott says, it creates unnecessary confusion and delays and things. It's just like we can do this another way. I see where your heart is, man, but let's divert that energy somewhere else.
Go break a mirror because you're upset now, and that's what he does.
I hope though that when who knows if this is ever gonna all be said and done, but it'd be nice if at the end of all this, Vane is able to set them all free, give them all the money that they are due for building this fort, and take it away from the stupid pirates that are too lazy to frickin' work because they just are caught up in the fact that they all have money and
like
stuff.
a Khaleesi type of leadership.
I do want a Khaleesi. I love me some Khaleesi.
They love him, so they follow him and listen to him, sort of thing.
Khaleesi and Vane should get together.
Oh that would God, be a power couple.
Right? That would be super hot.
Holy crap! I know. I can't even. Mine is blown right now.
That's a great idea. All right, so we learned through Eleanor and Rogers that Blackbeard was Vane's mentor, and he is just so incredibly commanding in every scene, walking around, and
he's a BAMF.
he's so cool.
He's a
yeah,
BAMF.
And he's like, you know, I'm not into like older men with like creepy beards and sweaty faces.
No, you're
and
not
stuff.
normally
like,
into that?
Not normally into that,
Not
but
your
like,
cup of tea.
there is something about Blackbeard. There is something. I'm like, no wonder you had 9 wives, buddy.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I am like all about Blackbeard. I can tell. I have a big fat crush on him.
Blackbeard
Hey,
or
Ray
Vane,
Stevenson.
though. Blackbeard or Vane, if you had to choose.
Oh, Vane.
Ooh.
Oh.
You can have. I
The
take
way
Vane.
you were describing his beard.
I
I might
just.
be into Blackbeard a little
Wow.
more. I don't know.
Well,
You have to see him shirtless, too.
Now we
Yeah,
know where Vane
see.
got it from. He got it from his protege.
Daddy.
Well, daddy,
Daddy.
yeah. Not protege, mentor. He got it from his mentor.
Yeah, and so that scene with Blackbeard, you know, stabbing the sword through the curtain and stuff. Nobody was really sure how that was going to go. He's like, you know, when I bury something or when something's buried, you expect it to stay there. And then they have a little face off for a while. There's some clear tension. Vane's got his sword in his
he's
hand, like
clenching it.
There, yeah. Eye to eye, like, how is this gonna go, bro? Like,
Yeah.
what's about to happen? And then Blackbeard
and
comes
hugs
in
him.
for the big bear hug.
Comes in. I thought when he was going in at first, he was going to
For a
stab and
stab.
then a big hug. If I was Vane, my heart would have been racing.
But I loved it. I mean, again, going back to how he can command any scene he's in, he commands the space. And that, I think, is not only Ray Stevenson as an actor, but Blackbeard as that character. That's what he's supposed to, you know, be like. And I think he's just so good as that mentor kind of fatherly figure almost, but at the same time, you know that at any given second he could turn around and like just like annihilate everyone.
Yeah,
The other cool thing about Blackbeard that we really saw about his character this episode is that Blackbeard is a pirate through and through. He is not about trying to like civilize piracy, civilize Nassau. He thinks that is a huge mistake. He thinks the reason Nassau is in ruin right now is because the men got comfortable. They got rich
soft.
and they got comfortable. They got
Pansies.
soft. And he had this whole awesome speech about strife and how strife is what drives a man to do the things necessary.
Right. Like you're a pirate when your
Yes.
back's against the wall and you have nothing to lose, and then you fight like a madman.
Yeah.
I loved his speech and stuff, but he just reminded me this entire episode of like a dad that's just always reminiscing on the past. So like, well, back in my day, this is what we used to do. I don't know what you guys just come up and ask if you can be a part of my team. Back when we were here, we had to fight for it. It was just a little, I don't know.
Nassau's not in a good
how he
spot.
is,
Yeah, I
though,
know. It
think.
annoyed me. I don't know. He annoyed me with that.
Because back in the day,
Yeah,
he
it's
was
just-
that.
he
like,
was the
top
king of the island.
guy
He
that
was.
everyone listened to.
I'm the
And now
king
he's
of the
like,
But he's not really anymore.
what have you
That's
little
the
shits
thing.
done with my absence? Nothing. You've
I
turned
leave
us
for
all to
a few
crap.
years and you guys,
Get
you get a
married.
hunk of
I have
gold.
9
and
I
you
get
wives.
married 8 more times and
You F it up.
turn it
What
to crap.
the hell?
But you
Back in
see,
the
just
day.
in those two guys, when he's like, "Oh, you guys normally you would fight to the death. You know, one of you would be
did
left
it.
standing, and that guy comes back."
Well, no, I
But
think
he also looks and laughs at him, sort of, and just like pats him, like, "Okay, bud, you didn't
No,
really
but-
need to do that." Like,
no,
you're like,
I think he
wanted to see
did. I
that.
think he
Yeah.
wanted to see that, and I also think Vane, this being his mentor, basically telling him like, yeah, I'm not impressed with this right now. Vane's like thinking, look what I have. Look what we've done. Like, okay, cool, we're gonna be buddies. Look, this is right. You know, all
Yeah.
this stuff. And
We're building things.
Blackbeard makes fun of every single thing Vane thinks that he has succeeded at, and I think that's really gonna get to Vane.
Yeah.
Oh, he's
because
trying to have to impress him.
he's gonna have
He
major
said-
daddy issues now.
It was hopeless.
Trying to
And then he
impress your
meets
father.
Rackham, and he's like, "Oh God, this man with the tiny silly glasses." You
"This is
know,
who you bring, and this is your partner."
exactly. So, I think we're gonna see some really cool stuff. With
And I think this
Blackbeard.
is going to start making Vane maybe not want to be a part of this big like team. Vane is going to want to go a little rogue, go a little
maybe.
Blackbeard,
He's
because
good at
Blackbeard's
doing
looking
that.
for the toughest guy to be his partner in this scenario.
Yeah.
So who is Vane going to go with? Is he going to stick with his ally Rackham with all the gold, or is he just going to say F it and partner with Blackbeard and take the gold? Because Vane is stronger than Rackham. But Rackham and him have always been loyal to each other.
Right.
What's going to happen?
Exactly.
Sharks come in next week.
Yes.
Yeah, like they do.
Allie in the chat's like, what I don't understand about the people of Nassau is that they all know the English and Spanish are coming, so shouldn't they be partying less and worrying more?
Yes,
Yeah,
Allie.
Exactly, right?
That's the issue. That's why they're moving the
Hi
gold.
ho, or whatever.
know?
Dumb
Pirates just
people.
drinking
I
and
hate
pirates
stupid
drinking
people.
their-
drinking
rum,
and
the rum
going into
and-
the brothel.
Yeah.
Brandon Brandon says, "Where is Captain Hook?" Captain Hook is from the it's from Peter Pan. So Disney owns the rights to Captain Hook.
If we got some sort of Hook character though, like not like Hook, but just a guy with
a hook and a peg leg.
Little joke.
I don't think Captain Hook didn't have a peg leg.
Oh no, he didn't.
That's John Silver.
Yes, gotcha.
Yeah.
All right.
No, you're pirates. Hook and a peg leg. A guy with a hook and a guy with a peg leg.
I want Captain Jack Sparrow. Where's Johnny Depp? No.
Throw them all in here.
Just Johnny Depp come in.
All right. Do we have anything else to talk about before we move into predictions?
I think we're good.
All right, let's do some predictions. Do we have some predictions? Yeah.
I've already said mine, but I'll reiterate them really quick.
Yeah, I know we went in a bit. Okay, so obviously invasion's coming. They all have to band together, but under who? That in our teaser that we saw. I think for sure Blackbeard is gonna step up and be the big leader next week, and that tons of people are gonna run inside with him. I mean, that's like a clear thing.
Because Flint's not there to keep his throne.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
really.
And I think Eleanor's presence is going to be known.
Yeah, but I think that Eleanor is going to come back and Blackbeard is going to be there. And I think her original plan is to sort of go back and take over Nassau. And I think now she may be a little too scared to do that. She's not sure what's going to come, and she may stick with the British a little bit more.
No, this is what I think. I think that...
That's not going to happen.
This is what's going to happen. This is what's going to happen is as soon as she sees Blackbeard, she's going to be like, oh, crap. We can't. She knows she can't beat him, and she also knows that for him not to kill her, she's going to use her knowledge of the British to side with him. So then he doesn't kill her. And I think that's what's going to get her to kind of come back into the Blackbeard's going to let her, because Vane's going to be pissed about it, and she's going to be pissed about having to work with Vane. But because Vane's already working with Blackbeard, and Blackbeard's going to want to bring Eleanor in just for like knowledge about Wood Rogers. Dun dun dun!
Wow, that's intense.
Thorough.
Right on cue.
All right. All so intense, and I mean, we're only in episode 2, so like we've seen a lot of great stuff so far, but I think it's just building up to be better and better.
Yeah.
This season,
it's great.
It's so good.
It's my favorite season so far. Most intense.
So good.
By far.
I'm excited because next week it's like going to be the first episode that I haven't seen yet.
Oh yeah.
On the same level as us.
I know, exactly.
Alrighty, folks, that just about does it. We are out of time. Thank you so much for tuning in once again to the Black Sails After Show. Be sure to tune in every week where we'll discuss everything that happened in each weekly episode. I am Lauren Salaun, and you can find me everywhere online at Lauren Salaun. That's spelled S-A-L-A-U-N. And go, ladies.
And hello, that was a lot of fun. I had a blast here today. I'm just saying, I don't want it to end yet.
I know.
Nadine Delle Pelle, and you can find me all over social media at Nadine DP and the number 3.
You guys can find me all over the interwebs at Keetin Marchi. Thank you so much for watching and tuning in the chat, and keep the conversation going throughout the rest of the week.
Yep.
Make sure to like us on iTunes, 5 stars,
subscribe
and
on
subscribe.
YouTube,
all that fun stuff keeps
tweet
our lights on, so we really appreciate it. And until next time.
Cool.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Bye. See you later.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.